Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Austin, and my major claim today is that technology has a negative effect on the way people think. Some reasons to support this claim is that technology causes us to think less creatively. Technology causes us to think less efficiently, and also technology encourages cyberbullying. All right. Why technology causes us to think less creatively? Well, it's kind of simple. When we don't know something, instantly what we think is, oh, I'll just Google it, I'll look it up online. And this can take away from the way how creative we think. Jaron Lanier, an expert in computer science, his opinion on this is that if we don't know it, we just look it up, and it diminishes us from forming our own opinions. Basically what it means is we fall into the mainstream of things. We tend to follow other people's opinions instead of being able to create our own. And an example of this is like for the elections. What we do is we look up an expert's opinion instead of being able to create our own, and we follow what they think, and rather than creating our own opinions on what we should be thinking. There's no need to be creative, really, when you can just look things up. It makes things easier for us, and we tend to be more lazier anyways. Plus, computers keep us from engaging in daily activities that boost our creativity, which also helps me lead to my next topic. Technology causes us to think less efficiently. First off, this kind of begins at a young age, and it can affect us later. Majority of children nowadays know what a computer, tablet, cell phone is, and they all know how to use them to their full purpose. And 72% of iTunes top-selling education apps are designed for preschoolers and elementary school children. Nancy Collison-Page, a professor at the University of Cambridge, says that children learn best when they're engaging in daily activities. I mean, you can't get daily engagement through an app on your cell phone or tablet, and yeah, and then that can lead to inefficient thinking. Because if we don't learn how to think for ourselves at an early age, there's no way we're going to be able to think for ourselves later. And that is why we rely so heavily on technology for our answers, because we learned we can just look it up online, and we don't have the capability to really think for ourselves. Why technology encourages cyberbullying? Well, first off, what is cyberbullying? And well, it's the using of technological devices to deliberately be hostile to another person. The reason why cyberbullying is more dangerous than like regular bullying is cyberbullying can happen 24/7. You can always go on like Facebook or your cell phone and be able to text and harass another person, where like regular bullying is more face-to-face. Like you have to be up and personal with them, and that's why it's more dangerous. And it can really have some serious negative effects. When people are behind a cell phone or computer, it encourages it because they can feel more tougher than usual. I mean, it's just the nature of it. A study was done in 2010 is that by the Cyberbullying Research Center is that approximately 20% of students were cyberbullied. And really, cyberbullying should really not be encouraged because it can have effects such as lowering self-esteem, creating anger issues, and even possibly suicide as well. The reason why this is undermined in our society is because people mostly do not see it as bullying. It kind of sits on the back burner, and but technology nowadays is just allowing this to become a lot more of a problem, and it's really affecting people everywhere. So to kind of wrap things up, the reason why technology can have a serious negative effect on us is that it causes us to think less creatively, less efficiently, and it can really encourage cyberbullying. Thank you.
Right, you have a clear statement of the claim at the beginning, although I do think it is still a little bit broad. We know where you're headed with this, and it's stated as a very clear declarative sentence. And there's a good preview of what the supporting points are. The drawback on the supporting points is that they're not always phrased as claims. Sometimes they're narratives. Sometimes you even phrase it as a question to which you are then going to pose the answer, when the answer should be the claim that you're making there. For example, on that third point, instead of telling me why cyberbullying is a particular problem, you need to tell me that cyberbullying is a problem because of technology, or that cyberbullying is worse than regular bullying because technology is so much more intrusive, or because it's 24/7, something along those lines. I think you need to be a little bit more specific in those secondary points in the argument as to what the claim is that you're trying to establish. On the evidence, you're kind of dependent on some general examples, and there are some statistics in the presentation. I did appreciate the information about the number of people who are cyberbullied. I do think we need some definition of what constitutes cyberbullying, because if you've got a particularly broad category, I think it might include lots of people. If name calling, for instance, constitutes cyberbullying, then anybody who's ever played one of those online games has been cyberbullied, you know, because don't you guys do all that kind of smack talk to somebody, you know? And now I've been cyberbullied because I've been called a wuss because my troops in Call of Duty got their asses kicked, you know. So I don't know what the criteria was when they defined that, but it might not be a very fair way of defining those kinds of things. I did think that the apps information was interesting about how many of them were designed for the preschool kids, but you presume that that means that they're not going to get interactive activity on a regular basis. And to me, that's exactly what those apps do, is they provide instant interactive engagement on a regular basis, much more than you would get in the classroom. So you need to show that they don't get used that way, that they aren't designed to be used that way, something along those lines. You just take it as a presupposition. I think that's problematic. I think you do a pretty good job talking to the audience. You could be a little bit more forceful in a couple of places. I thought there was a nice summary of the argument at the end, and that finishes the argument very effectively. All right, thank you.